I have to tell the world how wonderful my little flock of grays are. This is Coco, and this is Layla, and here's little Joe, and Bo's squawking in the background, in the bathroom. But what happened was, we brought little Joe in here about a week ago. He was in a transfer with Nuage, which was a umbrella cockatoo, and they were basically paired. But Nuage went to Hollywood to live with my friend Diane. So I didn't really have a place for little Joe in this really dense catty corner of two cages where Layla and Coco lived. This was Layla's cage, and this was Coco's cage in short. When I put little Joe on Coco's cage, she just wasn't going to have any of it. Females are larger than males. Both Layla and Coco are larger than my boys. So here's Joe. That's because they have to form eggs in their bodies, and they have to provide a lot more nutrients to those eggs. So their bodies are typically larger than the males. So Coco, in a natural way of behaving, was defending her territory. She wasn't having anything of it. Anyway, so I decided to make an executive decision, and I swapped Layla out of her cage, put her in Coco's cage, put Coco in Layla's cage. So Coco's a little bit of a princess. Look how beautiful she is. Perfect, not a plucker. Gorgeous female African gray Congo. Layla's a plucker. They're all rescues, mind you, and they develop these habits, just due to stress. Sometimes there's a little bit of neglect, and my theory is they need to be in a flock environment because that's part of what they are as a species. They're flock creatures. So I'm happy to reunite. Anyhow, the swap, all I did was take Layla one time into Coco's cage and Coco one time into Layla's cage, and I talked to them like people, and they stuck. Now this is just crazy to me because that's territory. They really listened to me and they understood what was going on. I set up two little perches on the inside of the bigger cage for Layla and Joe, and because I noticed they were getting on better behaviorally than Coco. She's a strong bird, so she's asserting herself. So Coco, anyhow, she has the princess cage now, the big, tall, beautiful princess cage. Layla and Joe and little Joe are sharing the big cage, and they're doing very, very well. And as always, Bo, the little maverick, who insists on living in the bathroom. Don't ask. He's been doing it every single house I've lived in. And so if you live with birds, you really love them, you adapt to them. You don't force them to adapt to you. And that's the best way to care for a bird, for sure. And lots of love and affection. This little guy gives me so much affection. He sleeps with me on my shoulder in the bed a lot of times. So there's a little bit about my grays, some behavior. They're such smart little people. Each one of them have an amazing personality. It just blows my mind.